Welcome back to Stab the Dragon Productions for episode number, well, maybe 97. I'm bad about counting. But this is the fifth matchup in the Texas Whiskey Tournament Rye Division. As tonight, we look at Milam&Greene versus Still Austin. The four previous winners in this tournament include Blackland Rye, the 83 proof edition, coming out of Fort Worth. Lockwood Rye at 90 proof, fighting out of Richardson and Fort Worth because they've got two distilleries, one on the west side, our side of the Metroplex, one on the east side. Ledslinger's Rye out of Scissortail Distillery in Moore, Oklahoma won. And last week's winner, Herman Marshall 92 proof from Garland or Wiley, Texas. Rooted in Garland, but I think the plan was to move to Wiley this last year, so I'm not sure if that actually happened. So now let's look at these two whiskeys, just the facts. Milam&Greene Rye. This is a straight rye finished in port casks at 94 proof. But it's a little bit more complicated than that. This is Indiana whiskey that is brought to Texas to be aged in port wine casks in the Texas climate. Straight rye whiskey must be at least 51% rye in the mash bill and aged for at least 2 years in charred new oak barrels. So for this whiskey, I'm not sure if the initial aging was done in Indiana, which I presume to be the case based on the flavor and what the website said. But then the whiskey is transported to Texas where it is blended. I'm not sure how they blend that, and then it's aged in the port barrels for an unknown amount of time. This whiskey, however, won double gold at the San Francisco World Spirits in 2020 and gold in 2021. And then at the American Craft Spirits competition, it won gold in 2021. So this is a well-regarded whiskey. The Milam&Greene Distillery is in Blanco, Texas, west of Austin. This distillery was founded by Marcia Milam, master blender Heather Green, and master distiller Marlene Holmes in 2017. So again, this is a pretty new whiskey distillery here in Texas. And it's a new whiskey for me. So I've not previously reviewed this whiskey here on Stab the Dragon, and I've only tasted it once, I believe, several weeks ago when I got it. The pricing, Total Wine here in Fort Worth has it listed for $47.99. Specs, $48.31. And Goody Goody, $48.59. All for a 750 milliliter bottle. Now, Still Austin, founded in 2015 in downtown Austin, Texas. This rye is labeled as The Artist. They put, there's the name there, The Artist. They put cute little names on their whiskeys down at Still Austin. I think they use a local artist for the label, so that's pretty cool. I mean, I kind of like that. This Texas Rye is coming in at 99.6 proof, so it does have a proof advantage over the Milam&Greene. It is a grain-to-glass Texas whiskey, which I really appreciate. The mash bill is 100% Texas Rye. Now, so that's as much rye as you can possibly get. There's no corn mixed in with that at all. There's no barley, just all Texas Rye. The distillery uses Central Texas Hill Country water, and the whiskey is aged in new oak barrels on a char level number 3. Total Wine does not have this whiskey, at least on their website. Specs has it listed for $47.36 and Goody Goody for $49.99 for a 750 milliliter bottle. So, pricing between these two is very similar, but availability advantage goes to the Milam&Greene. Now, these two whiskeys, their appearance is so similar that I'm able to do a blind tasting today. I poured the whiskey and then I mixed up the glasses pretty well. I know I've got little labels on the bottom of these Glencairns, so I know which one is which when it gets to evaluating. But right now, physically looking at the appearance here, they are identical. So I can't tell by the physical appearance which is which. And I'm just not that familiar with either of these. I think the Still Austin I might have had 2 sips from, 2 glasses from, but the Milam&Greene maybe just 1. So right now they're both, they're pretty dark. I'm gonna say a 4 on the appearance there. So both of them, I just have a preference for darker looking whiskeys. Just aesthetics. I don't know. So appearance, I can't really evaluate between one and the other. Let's go with nosing, starting on the right. I'm getting a little bit of a mustiness. So, nothing sweet, no rye flavor, just a little bit of mustiness. The one on the left, this one's got a little bit more of a rye flavor. Yeah, I'm smelling rye on this one, so I'm going to go with Still Austin on the nose for the one on the left. Still Austin, being 100% rye, it should have a strong rye flavor. So I'm guessing the one on the left is Still Austin. As far as the nose goes, I'm going to have to give advantage to the one on the left. I mean, it's got a little bit of a rye nose. Bourbons, usually I can't smell at all. Ryes, I can usually smell. I mean, this smells almost like a fir tree or a pine tree. That's really a nice smell going on, nice nose. But it's faint. It's not real strong. The one on the right, very difficult. Just a little bit of a mustiness there. Taste, the all-important taste. We'll start on the left side. Wow. At the start, that really tasted evergreen, pine needles, fir trees, something like that. But then on the backside, it really evolved. It really changed. That's pretty darn good. That's an interesting rye. And again, based off the taste and knowing what the mash bill of Still Austin is, I'm thinking the one on the left is going to be Still Austin. But what was going on at the tail end of that? And that's definitely rye forward. It's a very pleasant rye. I mean, ryes have so many different flavors, but this one is evergreen, definitely. Okay, so I'm going to have to cleanse my palate. Now, this is Richard's Sparkling Rainwater tonight instead of Topo Chico. This is out of Dripping Springs, Texas. Topo Chico is a Mexican import. Dripping Springs is where Treaty Oak Distillery is. I've got a couple of Treaty Oak whiskeys. This is not quite as fizzy as Topo Chico, but it's still pretty good. They use rainwater. Okay, so I'm going to move to the one on the right. And I'm guessing that this is going to be the Milam&Greene. So let's see if I get that port finish. This is definitely smooth. Not quite as flavorful as the first one. The rye flavor's there, but it's a little bit tamped down. It's not as bold as the first one. I'm getting a little bit of sweetness there on the finish. I'm really thinking this is the Milam&Greene Port Finished. And I think the proof point feels a little bit lower than the first one. So that's another indicator. Well, if I miss this, you know, if I got these reversed, that'll be embarrassing, but oh well. So I'm thinking this is Milam&Greene. Now, which one do I like better? Here's the deal. In the rye competition, the interesting thing I've encountered is that twice, so I've already had 4 competitions. Twice, the one I picked to be the winner lost. Tonight, the one I picked to win is Milam&Greene. Okay, I was just going off of the neck pours and what I thought of them, but I haven't tasted either of them in a few weeks. But the deciding factor for me in the competitions where my picked favorite lost was the rye flavor. I had to come up with some type of a rule for judging these whiskeys, and there were a couple. Well, I had 2 entries by Oak and Eden. They both lost. If I was judging strictly by which whiskey I preferred to drink, Oak and Eden might have won one of those, possibly both. But I was judging off of rye flavor that I like. And so, in other words, I'm discerning, trying to discriminate in my tastings, narrow it down to the rye flavor. Which one had the best rye flavor? I'm looking specifically for that. So, keep that in mind as I evaluate these 2 whiskeys. This one on the right, the rye flavor is there, but I'm real sure this is the Milam&Greene, and I'm getting the sweetness of the port, and that tamps down on the rye flavor. And I gotta tell you, when I opened these 2 whiskeys, I did not like the Still Austin on the neck pour, but here's the secret. I've learned never to trust the neck pour. When I watch these YouTube shows and I see all these pros just open a whiskey right there and pour from the neck, and they're getting neck pours, I know a lot of people say that's bogus. I'm here to tell you, it doesn't happen every time with me, but at least a third of the time, the neck pour on a whiskey does not represent what's really there. Once I've had a neck pour that was great, and then as I went down the bottle, it got worse. It wasn't as good as the neck pour. But most of the other times, neck pour did not impress me. In fact, sometimes it was bad. And a couple of my winners in this tournament did that to me, where I did not pick them to win because of the neck pour, and then because they had sat in the bottle exposed to a little bit of air, over time they improved, and when it came time for the competition, bam, the underdog won. So I don't trust neck pours. So Still Austin, when I opened it, I really didn't like it. I thought, oh man, this is, not a very good whiskey. And so when I opened the Milam&Greene, I liked it immediately. So when it came time for this competition tonight, I picked Milam&Greene to win. So right now, the one on the left has the clear advantage. That is a marvelous rye. Here we go. Decision time. The one on the left wins. That's what I'm looking for in a rye whiskey. So let's look at the numbers on the bottom and see. So the one on the right that I think is Milam&Greene is in fact number 1. That is Milam&Greene. This is number 2, Still Austin. Still Austin for the win. Come from behind. It defeated my chosen favorite. Imagine. So this is the 3rd time out of 5 competitions that my underdog has come up from behind to win. Well, there we go. We've got an interesting competition going on. So what's happening next week? Acre Texas Rye rum finished 100 proof versus Giant Rye 100 proof. Acre is my favorite distillery. It's 15 minutes from my house here in Fort Worth. Giant, I think, is down by Houston. I need to research that to make sure. Giant, I sampled it when I bought it over a year ago, and I haven't cracked it since. So we'll see what happens next week. In the meanwhile, Stab the Dragon out here.